Welcome to Be Great Today, weekly inspiration to start your week. I am Jonathan Bloom, or Frasley Sparksman in World of Warcraft. This is a topic that I feel is very important to discuss. I am also very nervous even beginning to try and discuss this. Since beginning this podcast, along with my other shows, there's something that I've been hearing in the back of my head. A voice that tells me,
"You can't do it. You're a fake. You're skating by until people learn you don't know about being inspirational or about World of Warcraft, or that you don't know how to make podcasts. You can't do it."
This voice isn't limited to just these topics either. Let's start by taking podcasting as an example. There are weeks when I don't feel qualified to be making these podcasts, that I don't think I know enough about certain subjects. I don't know everything, and I'm always learning, but this voice keeps speaking in my mind. Do you hear this voice in your life? This voice kept me from podcasting for many years. This voice is part of what I've learned is something called Imposter syndrome. The podcasting Hall of Famer Dave Jackson, someone I listened to a lot, was one of the first to get me to know what this is. I heard him mention it on a show. Later on, Eric K. Johnson mentioned it on their show. Dave Jackson then talked about it recently on his podcast, Ask the Podcast Coach and School of Podcasting. I have links to all these episodes in the show notes. They have been very helpful to me. A lot of people I talked to have told me about things like what I described. I'm starting to theorize that many people experience imposter syndrome more than they may even realize. We need to push past this voice. That is one of the best ways to stop that voice. Push past it. Do what you know. Have confidence. This voice also tells me that I don't know what is required to finish a course or perform a dance routine. On Wednesday, I had my dance lesson. I kept thinking,
Wow, I'm really able to do this? We are just weeks away.
Like I said earlier, I don't know everything, but I know a lot. I am continually learning, always striving to improve in what I know and what I do. My dancing is not the same as it was when I started now 10 years ago. My podcasting is not the same as when I started consistently producing podcasts over a year ago. Dave Jackson talked about on the School of Podcasting about people, famous celebrities who struggle with imposter syndrome. People like David Letterman and Meryl Streep. We just watched Julie and Julia on my recent trip. A movie I love because of someone trying something new and starting a blog to learn to cook all of Julia Child's cookbook. Meryl Streep started as Julia, and she is an amazing actor. Her roles have always been phenomenal. Well, Dave Jackson talked about how she struggles with imposter syndrome. If an actor of Streep's caliber struggles with it, then there is hope for all of us. One of my mentors talked about how words of encouragement are very important to them. Words of affirmation lift them up, but negative, discouraging, and critical words can tear them down just as much, if not more. This is something I myself face as well. Once I started podcasting publicly, words of criticism can sometimes put me in a very low place. I know I'm tall, but still, it takes me way low. It feeds into my imposter syndrome. This week, let's work to ignore that voice in our head. The one telling us that we can't do it. We may not be able to do it perfectly, but I'm going to guess we can perform that task better than we think. We just need confidence in ourselves. Thank you for listening to this week's Be Great Today. You can find the show at be-great.today/49. If this episode has inspired you and you know someone who can use inspiration on their journey, maybe some ways to fight that voice in their head, please share this podcast episode with your friends. Until next week, be awesome. You can do it.
Want more awesomeness every week? Visit weeklyawesome.com. Weekly podcasts to make your week better. Remember to smile and be awesome.